For the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Okay. Okay, so we're going to hold off on the executive session.
Yeah, we don't have the.
Jim.
Okay, so alrighty, the number 2 is for financials. Heidi. Okay.
Hi.
Morning, Heidi.
Financials today include supplemental appropriations for the court technology and CASA funds for changes approved as part of the budget hearing process, an appropriation transfer from the contingency account for the SEPCO Wellness Grant Program, cash transfers out of the general fund for fourth quarter 2013 interest transfers, and for the payment of quarterly gas well allotment proceeds to the Board of DD. Travel requests of the Department of Emergency Services, the Transit Department, and the Department of Water Resources. Payment to Dachau Building Company for pay request number 5 for the Board of DD's ICF-DD downsizing project in the amount of $71,249.64. Payment to Ohio Cat for the purchase of a Caterpillar D4K Series 2 XL tractor for the engineer's office in the amount of $85,245. And a payment to Business Smarts Incorporated for the purchase of an HP ProLiant DL380P server for the Department of Water Resources in the amount of $32,557.74.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Thank you. Okay, on number 3, we've got the Department of Aging is requesting. Are we on? Okay, all right. So, Board of Developmental Disabilities. We have somebody here.
Don Rice is out in the hallway.
Okay.
We're still
They're waiting for some clients to show, so we can go to number 4.
All right, so we'll go back to number 3 then.
So horrible.
Hey.
So the Clerk of Courts is requesting somebody from the
She's
Clerk of
not-
Courts.
Yeah, she has the flu, so I'll just explain. This
Okay.
is an agreement that Denise Kaminsky would like to have approved, and we've done this before. The Ohio Attorney General actually will assist in debt collection of court costs. So there's no cost to the county.
Okay.
So it's just an agreement you guys have to sign to allow that to happen.
We did this last year
Yeah,
too, correct?
Yeah, I believe so,
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I guess number 4, if we could do a read on that.
The Clerk of Courts is requesting the board approve and execute the delinquent debt collection agreement between the Ohio Attorney General and Geauga.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. Okay, number 5 is Common Police Court.
I mean, we have
Oh, we
Laura.
got
We have
Laura.
Laura, so maybe we do the executive session.
Don Rice.
No, he's waiting for.
He's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah, but
Good morning.
Couple minutes.
We were going to have
Hey,
clients
how you
here, and I'm trying to find out where they are. So.
All right, then let's see what on the Department of Aging, is somebody here?
Yeah,
Okay, Jessica.
Jessica's here.
All right,
Good morning.
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 How are ya?
Good.
Don't pull it out there. Okay, in the process of going through the job descriptions, when I was reading the secretary job description, it really did not fit what's happening in the agency, and what was more appropriate is the administrative assistant 3. So I was wondering if you would approve that job description.
And the difference being,
You know, the secretary that we have now is not so much doing secretarial duties, but doing like the day-to-day management and operations while I'm out in the field, and
Okay.
Kathy's doing a lot of the, I would say paperwork aspects of the
Tax
organization.
assistance and things like that.
and the difference would be in the sense, other than the description, is there a change in, there is a change in?
There is,
Okay,
there is.
and that is, the difference in that is how much?
It is, and I'm sorry, I don't have her old job description, it's a little over $1 an hour.
Okay,
less or more?
No more.
More.
More an hour.
This is Karen Stone.
Oh, Karen Stone.
okay. So this is going back to what we had changed originally then to post and then to repost for the difference in the changes in those positions?
No, this is a different position.
This is a
Completely
different one.
different,
I'm
okay.
very sorry. This was not
Okay.
what I was hiring for.
Okay, okay.
This is kind of to put the secretary position in the parking lot, because it's more, what's happening is more of an administrative assistant 3 at the organization.
Okay,
She is essentially, can run the day-to-day operations when Kathy is not present.
Okay.
Of course, when Kathy was out for surgery, she was doing that job, which is not a secretarial
Okay.
job, to be able to fill in
And
for
Jessica and
other
I
staff.
talked about this, and I said, well, that sounds like she's working above her current pay grade, so we need to reclassify her
Okay.
job to reflect what she actually does day to day.
all right, any questions from the board?
Good.
Good. Okay, if we could go ahead and read number 6.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the new job description for Administrative Assistant 3, number 1006, to be effective March 2nd, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. And then we'll have number 7, which is, if you could explain that one, Jessica?
The org chart?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
putting that position.
Just putting the
into
position on the
org.
organizational chart, changing it from secretary to administrative assistant 3, and that being said, also putting our clerical staff underneath her.
Okay,
So she's supervising them directly.
okay, any questions on that?
It's good, I looked that over.
Okay, so if we could read number 7.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the revised organizational chart to include Administrative Assistant 3, number 1006.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved.
2, 3.
The next, the final step to put her in that position.
Okay,
The only thing here is, we did have March 2nd down to capture the beginning of the pay period, which started Monday.
okay, all right. Okay, and then on number 8, I believe, correct?
The Department on Aging is requesting the board reclassify Karen Stone from Administrative Secretary number 1018 to Administrative Assistant 3, number 1006, to be effective March 2nd, 2014, at a rate of $14.35 per hour. After the successful completion of a 180-day probationary period, the rate will increase to $15.11 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved.
The next
Oh.
is, we did post the position for the INR
Okay.
assistant, which we interviewed for. So it turns out our in-house candidate was the best for the position. So I'd like to reclassify her.
Okay, any questions on that? Are everybody's comfortable? Okay, if we could read number 9.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board reclassify Natalie Dolzall from part-time assistant site coordinator number 1005 to full-time information and referral assistant number 1017 to be effective March 17, 2014, at a rate of $11.21 per hour. After the successful completion of a 108-day probationary period, the rate will increase to $11.80 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion will be approved. Thank you. Or is there one more? Okay.
Our contract with Strathing King needed to be updated. So what I did was update that with Strathing King. We've been using them for at least over 9 years. And they do hold a federal contract with the Western Reserve Agency Area on Aging, who subsequently also provides a supplement toward their hourly rates. So what the WRAAA does is they pay $24.58.
Sorry. Go on.
Okay. No, go ahead and we'll
Okay,
finish.
they pay $24.58 per hour toward their $125 an hour fee up to 655 hours per year. What I have decided to do is put a cap on the legal services this year at 775 hours, which would bring us below last year's total.
All right. Is there a question, sir?
Yes, my name's Alan Segedy. I had the pleasure of meeting somebody from Strathing King twice already. They did exactly 0 for me in correcting deeds. They sucked over $80,000 out of the system last year. They did not have a contract last year. The new person is getting in there and stirring things up, and she's gonna get things
He's
right.
gonna talk about it.
But why do we hire an out-of-county people when we have a lot of lawyers in this county? Here's my Freedom of Information Act. You can't really tell what they did. They say it's client privilege. They've been working with no contract for last year. They got over $80,000 last year. They got $300 to talk to me, where you're allowed 3 hours, so you know.
Sir, does this have anything to do with?
Schrapp and King,
Right, but I'm saying as far as what we're discussing right now.
yes, he's talking Schrapp and King,
Well, I understand that, but was your issue as far as what we're talking about with the Department of Aging?
right?
It was,
Yes.
as far as this specific issue here?
Schrapp and King, yes, they take your money and they don't do what they're supposed to do.
All right, here, I think we're.
Contract or no contract.
Right, I think we've got two separate issues here, and I understand
You're ready to sign a contract with somebody, you shouldn't sign a contract.
I understand that, but we also have a prosecutor's office that reviews our contracts prior to us putting them forward. We have, you know, checks and balances of
I'm
things
a
that we
check.
do. I understand that, and if you wanna get us some information, I'll be more than happy to review it. I'll forward it to our prosecutor's office also, but
He refuses to have a call with me.
Why
Well-
they get paid?
I would say this, forward it to me, and I will forward it to him, and then we'll see what we can
And
do.
you're signing a contract today.
Well, we're signing the contract based on the fact that it goes through checks and balances, and right
Right.
now, we've had some of the protocols that we've put into place to assure that what we're doing is correct and it's upfront. It's not
Why
that,
didn't you have a contract last year with him?
I don't know if, to be quite honest with you, I'm a new commissioner here, so I don't know. I
I'm
can't
a new
answer that.
citizen here for the second time.
Okay,
And I've already got denied services that would have been contracted if you had a contract with them. You don't have a contract with them for the services they denied me.
so your biggest issue is that you didn't have satisfactory results, and that's why we should not go with them.
No, there's no checks and balances. I have a whole quarter of their payments. It doesn't say really what they did. Sometimes it sounds like they charge $25 to notarize something.
Okay.
I don't know, I can't understand this whole.
But your issue with them was what? Was your issue what we're dealing with?
Yeah, their contract.
But I'm saying is you weren't dealing with them as far as for what our business is, as far as them representing the
I
Geauga.
question, why do we go to an out-of-county people? Yes, they used to be in the county.
I believe
I
that
talked to
there's
the Bar
a process of
Association.
us evaluating different firms, is that correct? Dave?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Can I have a
people who
copy of
have
that for the public
expertise in
record?
dealing
that
with
area.
elder care and elder law, and they're the ones that have been designated by the Western Reserve Area on Agency as the designated experts in that area.
They're the provider through the Western Reserve.
Okay.
Western Reserve.
But Mr. Senaty was unhappy with what happened to his situation. That's what. But that doesn't mean everybody was unhappy.
I
Okay,
hear that I'm the only person that's ever been unhappy with them.
I don't know.
That's what I was told.
You were the only one?
That's what I was told.
I mean, I've never heard the issues with anybody else, but you could, you know, your
Well, isn't there an
situation-
issue to have corrective
Okay.
deeds and have good deeds in this county? Isn't there a big push for it? And you ask
Well,
them to
certainly
do
there's,
something, they don't do
there's
it?
a suggestion for folks to make sure that their deeds are in estate by entireties or to go through trust so that they don't have
Right,
probate
I have
at
bad
the end of
deeds
their
on my
lives for
property and
families.
we ask
Right.
them to fix them twice and all they do is, and,
Talk.
you know, you look in here because you don't have this stuff. You know, for an afternoon, they're making $800 and some sitting there talking to people, you know,
Yeah,
talk to
that's
client,
the way
talk
it
to
is with
client,
lawyers.
talk to client.
We did do 134 good deeds appointments last year.
134, yeah.
134 appointments.
And that's a real positive thing, because then you're in, whoever inherits the property, if you pass away, doesn't have to go through probate, and that was the whole point of doing that, you know, to, I mean,
Yeah,
that
if
was.
you have a good lawyer doing it. I'm not saying they're not a good lawyer, but I
Yeah.
question why we're
But
doing
in your
it out
case,
of county.
you were
money.
unhappy with this, the outcome.
They didn't do nothing. They took the money. If I
Okay.
wanna talk to a lawyer that doesn't do nothing, I can call them up on the phone and talk to one for a half hour, you know,
okay.
8 hours a day.
Well-
All I'm doing is bringing it to your attention. I brought it to the director's attention over there. I bring it, you know, and I told the new director, when I look into stuff, I'll bring it to you. It takes time to get your public records request. And, you know, how would you like to go from here and go sit in senior citizen and make $600 in the afternoon? And,
All right.
you know, we don't know what they
Sir,
did.
so that, at this point, here's what I would recommend is at this point, we need to move on with the meeting, but,
And here,
I
you're
would-
gonna sign a contract as soon as I sit down.
well, I guess here's what I'm telling you is we can, send me the information. You can't expect to come in here just right now this morning. Obviously, you were prompted with this information ahead of this meeting, but all of a sudden, I'm hearing from you this morning. So it puts me in a little bit of a trick bag, because I can't react to something, you know, 2 minutes before we're ready to read
You
this.
can postpone it to
you know,
another day, the signing of the contract.
you know,
What's another month without a contract?
I understand that, but we also have some accountability that we have as far as our Department of Aging, so it's not just that easy. And I wish I could tell you it's that easy, but it's not. So there's a lot of people that depend on this, and right now, for the county's liability, we need to move forward. But
Right.
you can please forward me the information. I will take it upon myself to forward it to who I need to, and at that point, we can have further discussion. But at this point in time,
I've heard
I
that
think
excuse
that's,
before.
well, that's the first time you've heard it from me, and I
Right,
can
it
tell you,
is.
assure you
And
this.
I honor
Forward
that.
it to me, and I will at least stick to my word.
We can
That's
go
all I could say.
14 months without a contract, and you can't go another week.
Well, so if we could go ahead and,
He's right.
and,
You're right.
Or did you have to read that? Or you like it?
Yeah.
No, she won't.
yep, if you want to go ahead and read number 10.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the legal services agreement between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners, the Geauga County Department on Aging, and Patricia J. Schraff and King Company LPA for legal services that include advice, counsel, and representation of clients up to 72 hours per month to a maximum of 775 hours for the period January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2014.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion will stand approved. Okay. So now that we have a number of people, we want to go back to number 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Don, Don
So the
Rice.
Board of Developmental Disabilities, Don,
I'm gonna let my folks come on up here.
okay,
Kelly's my PR person, and she's gonna take the lead on this.
Okay.
hello,
Hi.
how are you?
Good.
Good, come on up.
Hi. You want me to talk about what we're
Sure,
doing?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Is actual nationally recognized, and in the state of Ohio, the theme for this year is Ability at Work. So we are just out today to have you guys officially proclaim March DD Awareness Month in Geauga County. We will be out and about in the county more than ever during this month. We'll be at the Middlefield Library, the Burton Library. We have our displays in their cases right at the checkout. The Westwoods Nature Center will have a display with our artwork. We'll be at Pancake Breakfast at West Geauga High School on March 16th. So we're just out this month trying to do more than ever just to build awareness and let everyone be recognized. So we're here today to sort of kick it off. It's our first big event for the month.
Very good, very good.
Sounds good.
And we have we've got a proclamation here, proclamation, and we will go ahead, and if you wanted to read that off, and we'll be able to make a motion on this.
The Board of Developmental Disabilities is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-040 recognizing March 2014 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved, and thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything you guys
Thank
do.
Thank you. Last year we did a picture with you guys.
Yep, we sure can, absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm responsible.
Don't want to break.
No, go ahead, go ahead. I'm not gonna be responsible if that lens breaks.
Actually, why don't we come along when he's here?
How are you?
Oh, fine.
This is a cold day, huh?
Yeah, cost that.
Yeah, terrible. But we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
have
know.
warm days. They promised. In June.
Right.
You don't seem like you believe that too well.
Face the camera.
That's good.
The pressure's on you
Um,
to take a picture, right?
Here, will you stand next to this?
Come on over here.
There you go. And we'll hand this to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, is everybody ready?
I'll take a poll.
Okay, smile.
One more. Everyone smiling? All right.
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think a good job.
Excellent job.
You want to go ahead?
Number, sure. Okay. Number 5, if we could have Judge Fury.
We're honored with our two
Honorable.
honorables.
Picture too.
You got a picture? You got a picture? Wow. You got both of them. You got the.
Morning.
Good morning. ISP Director, Intensive Supervision Probation.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
You may remember Susan, Becky replaces Susan.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, she's trying to.
She's in the same slot, same position.
Oh, I'm sure she'll do
You
well.
can't replace.
We're not asking you for money.
Oh, my God. This is good.
You're always welcome.
This is always good.
So now do I get that picture?
Yeah.
We are here to ask you to approve a grant we applied for the Department of Corrections. The grant is on a per capita basis. And generally stated, the Department of Corrections will provide the county money to help us keep people out of prison. So instead of spending $26,000 per prisoner per year per person in prison, they will pay the county, the courts, for each person that we assign to community control. That doesn't mean we're putting them on the street. So these people can be put into non-residential community control, which is probation, but they can also be put in care treatment facilities. They can be put in jail and receive treatment in the jail.
In the jail.
And the sheriff has an excellent program through Lake Geauga providing treatment in jail. We've got a substance issue. I refuse to call it a heroin epidemic anymore. I call it a personal responsibility of it. Whatever substance they're on. It's meth. We've got more meth labs in Ohio than we've ever had. Certainly heroin. But
Yeah.
locking these people in prison is the last resort. We've always felt this. So this will give us the opportunity to have some money to do something with it. I'll defer to Judge Fury to tell you what we're planning on doing.
Well, you should know it's a 16-month commitment that started day before yesterday. Yeah, and all we need is your signatures. It's a staggered payments over the next 16 months until the end of June of next year. And the total could be up to $107,000 and change.
That
But
is
that's,
good. Yeah.
but it's only paid in stages as we continue people on probation of some sort, or as Judge Burt mentioned, any place but prison. If they're in our jail getting treatment, if they're on probation, community control, that are known as now, then we get paid. We intend to either take an existing officer and shift that officer's duties to take on this task, or if it's more appropriate, we'll use a new person to undertake the duties of following through on this grant. We tried to do a little bit of numbers. At least I just guesstimated if we had 75 people on this program, we may be able to consume, or maybe we can take advantage of most of this grant money. And it's all from the Department of Corrections. Becky, thank you, put the grant paperwork together in a heartbeat, because they wanted this in the space of so quickly that we didn't think we were gonna get it in on time.
Well, may I ask this
72
question?
hours.
Does the Department of Corrections get that cash flow from fines and things?
From the state
From the
general fund.
state general fund?
Right. What we are hoping to do is that either take an existing officer and add time. We have a part-time officer now that we're gonna offer the possibility of going full-time. Or if he's not willing to do that, then we are hiring a new probation officer. And use some of the funds
For
to
that
put
probation
person-
officer?
I said, we're not putting the defendants on the street, but we're gonna put our officers on the street. We want them going to the house, we want them going to the place of employment. Sometimes they may take them by the hand and walk them to an employer and say, here's somebody that needs a job. What do you say?
I have a question.
Sure.
Just to clarify in my own mind. If we take a person and we incarcerate them, it costs us like $26,000 is the number you use to keep in jail or in prison a year. And then if we put them into this program, we get back, did you say 24,000?
No, it's, the state is making out on, no question there. In other words, what we get per person is a lot less than 26,000 a year.
Okay, okay.
But it's still incentive for us
So
to,
if-
it's a supplement to us for people that we like to think we probably wouldn't be putting in prison anyway.
And then if you put someone into that program, and then the state is giving us money for that person, and then that person violates their parole.
We don't have to give it back.
We don't have to give it back, okay, so then they become.
It's graduate. We get $500 when we put a person on community control, and then every 6 months.
Quarter.
Every quarter.
Okay,
There's another supplemental payment.
so if the prisoner screws up and doesn't abide by the court orders, and he gets incarcerated, we don't get punished
more, but
twice.
We don't have to give it back.
Right, we don't get punished twice, because we're gonna have to pay for him to be in jail out of our funds, but we don't have to pay back what we've received.
Well, then again, if the person, okay, Ralph's on probation.
Really?
He is. I don't want to bring it to this crowd, but he is.
No, I've seen it before.
And for 6 months, he's been doing well. We'll get a couple payments for Ralph, but then he slips. If we put him in jail, we still get the payments. But he slips and he robs a bank, one of our graduate students. Then we put him in prison. Then we quit getting, it's only if we send him to prison that we stop.
Okay, okay.
Not
Now,
jail.
how many inmates would you consider this, how many of these people would we be looking at?
We projected as many as 75.
75 to 80.
Well, that number, how many people break the law in a given year? That fluctuates,
How many
right?
violate their community
Well, that would
control?
save us $1,950,000.
Not insignificant.
I mean, I just use my little
Potentially,
ca-
yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, almost $2 million
Now, there's
saved.
another aspect to it,
Wow.
and that is that if someone who we have sent to prison applies for early release, and if their institutional record looks good, and they look like as though they hold promise, we can release them, grant them early judicial release, and put them on community control, and you get a payment for that.
And where that makes sense, and I'm assuming without looking behind me, we have no state parole officers behind me. We
I don't
have a
think
lot
so.
more faith in our probation department than we do with the state. Not that the state officers aren't good. They are so inundated with people. So now that I've sent Ralph to prison, I'm gonna let him out early. And I'm doing that, one, because he did well in prison, entered programs, got treatment. And when I let him out early, our probation people watch him, not the state people.
Lot stronger controls, yeah.
Exactly.
And Becky just pointed out a highlight of this payment schedule. The largest amount that we would receive is if we successfully terminate someone on their probation that we initiate with them, it's a $750 payment. So it's a great
For
incentive.
them to be successful.
And naturally, we have to use a new person because we're not allowed to use the proceeds of this grant to pay existing staff because they want you to.
Well, we can add hours for existing.
You can
Right.
add
You can add hours for
probation,
assist.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And
it's
there's
an
no cost
incentive
off.
to.
No, there's no match.
No matching funds, no cost on it? too good to be true.
All right, I'll get the contract down.
No, no.
Yeah, there is this personal guarantee you're signing.
Only you, Blake.
I just put an X.
Do you have the original sign?
You gotta figure out
No.
who's
By
the
Laura?
Uh,
Yeah,
Because
Laura.
they have one that they're signing right now.
Signed by Laura, not by the Department of Corrections.
They
Oh,
have one.
yeah.
Okay. So
We need to
then,
make the
let's
motion.
go ahead and read the motion then and take it. Vote on it.
The Common Police Court is requesting the board approve and execute the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections Subsidy Grant Agreement for Smart Ohio pilot funding for the period March 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion will stand approved.
All right, you're off probation now, Commissioner.
You get your $750, he gets his freedom.
I gotta point out, you give her time off and she comes back reading all the faster.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you, thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Do what you can to stay warm.
Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is we have the prosecutor, Blaze, and Laura LaChapelle also is here representing the prosecutor's office. We can enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing the discipline of a public employee in our transit department. So if we can make a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion
then-
approved, we'll move into motion.
And then I'll be in there and Colleen Lockhart will be in there as well.
Okay. So,
How long do you anticipate?
what would you say? Okay, let the record show that at 11:07, that all commissioners have returned from executive session, and now we're ready to move forward on a motion. I'd like you to read is this one here first. Commissioners Officer Chris, and
Okay. And then you want?
we'll read that one first, and
And then this one?
yes.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board to terminate the employment of Transit Director Christina Reeder effective immediately.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Motion approved.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint Michael Casper, interim acting director in the Transit Department, to be effective immediately.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Motion will stand approved. And number 3.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve a paid administrative leave for Kate Geauga, Administrative Assistant 3 in the Transit Department, effective immediately pending the outcome of further investigation.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
And aye, and that motion will also stand approved. At this point, let me get my bearings here. We
Eleven.
are
Back on 11.
11.
back on 11.
Yes.
The Office of Community and Economic Development, Anita? Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, Anita.
Morning.
Okay, this is one of our recipients of the septic system replacement. If you remember, that's a loan program, and the loan is 100% due upon either the sale of the house or within 10 years of when the loan is made. So we've recaptured 100%.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. So if we could read number 11 then?
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and execute a satisfaction of mortgage for David P. and Sanaya A. White for property located at 11731 Basswood Drive, Chard, as a revolving loan infrastructure loan in the amount of $12,000 has been satisfied.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
And number 12 is going to be the Department of Jobs and Family Services. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
First, I'd like to introduce you to our new HR officer. It's one of the actions I'm coming up for. Donna Brown-Barrow is our new HR officer, replacing Anita Roll, who we recognized at the end of 2013 retired after 30 years. Donna comes to us with a degree in Child and Family Studies and over 18 years of HR experience at ResCare in Chester. Again, because it's a replacement position, this is not an additional position for our agency. We also have hired a maintenance repair worker, Arman Ayabani. He comes to us with 20 years of experience as a self-employed licensed plumber. And for the last 10 months before we hired him, he was working through Champion Personnel, also a replacement position. And the last one is Deanna Summers, also a replacement. She was hired as a part-time eligibility referral specialist 1. She has 1.5 years of experience as a public assistance eligibility referral specialist and protective services clerical specialist at Portage County JFS, and also has some experience at the Western Reserve Health Systems as an administrative assistant and medical receptionist.
Now, as far as for your maintenance worker, where would that be?
He does a lot of custodial duties for us because
So
we have our own
maintenance department handle that?
Well, they're such a large agency, they've historically always had their own staff because they're big enough that it's a full-time job for
Right.
1 or 2 people.
Right, and we have a maintenance supervisor. We have a fleet of 8 or 9 cars and
Right.
a very large building to take care of. So since I've been there 18, almost 19 years, we've always had our own maintenance staff.
But they coordinate with Glenn on major projects, like we're looking at the parking lot there needing some major work this year. So if there's anything
Okay.
on capital, Glenn gets involved.
Absolutely.
And who maintains your vehicles?
For like gassing it up and doing some oil changes, we do it in-house. And then if we have major repairs, we go to the sheriff's office and pay for their services at post.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Nothing? Okay. If we could read number 12.
The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board acknowledge the following new hire appointments as the Director of Job and Family Services, as Job and Family Services has complied with the Board of Commissioners recruitment and hiring procedures. Donna Brown-Barrow, Human Resource Officer, replacement effective January 23rd, 2014. Armin Ayabani, Maintenance Repair Worker, replacement effective January 23rd, 2014. Deanna Summers, Part-Time Eligibility Referral Specialist 1, replacement effective February 18th, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Stevens?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion will stand approved. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye now. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management, Bob? How are you?
Good. I'm requesting that the board approve the contract between the Bergen Township trustees, the district, and the commissioners for the single-stream recycling program in Bergen Township.
That's with our new
That's with the new service
provider.
How's that working out? Pretty good?
The transition was not very smooth.
Okay.
It was rather difficult. It was a bad time of the year with the holidays.
Sure.
The other provider kind of left us high and dry. He pulled his services December 31st. It is working very well now.
Okay.
The service is very good with the communities, and we're not having any problems.
Okay.
But it wasn't smooth.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen a few of their trucks around.
Okay. All right, if we can read number 13.
The Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management District is requesting the board approve and execute a single-stream drop-off recycling program 2014 through 2016 contract agreement with Bergen Township trustees.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Stevens?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion will stand approved. Thank you.
Hey, Bob. We're good.
Okay. Let's see here. This will be for just us to read, or?
Dave wants to.
Yeah, this is the summer help program.
Okay.
And we're going to be utilizing, if we end up with a candidate that makes sense for us and wants to work for us, Geauga Growth Partnership Summer Intern. It'll be for this office, and we'll probably share them with other departments in this complex as far as just helping on administrative work during the summer. Department of Aging is looking for 2 summer help, and then the county home and maintenance as well. And again, they may be drawing from the Geauga Growth Partnership internship if they find a suitable candidate. But today would be the same.
And I think that that's good, but I think that we also need to broaden our horizons of not just focusing Geauga Growth Partnership. I think if we do post it,
Oh, we will.
not to just
Yeah.
focus on, a group of people selected by a
Right.
single entity of people, but let's just keep it open for everybody and anybody for,
Yep.
that may not be involved in that, and all of a sudden is an even better candidate, just to keep it fair and above board.
We've always
Absolutely.
had this open process. I mean, the Geauga Growth has just been the
Yeah.
last 2 years they've
Right.
been involved. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a
Because I
blend,
know
but
it's,
yeah.
and it's great that they're motivating, the younger generation to get involved and do that, but I still think that we want to not put our blinders on and just saying, we're just going to take these people. I think we need to have it as an open
Open
competitive thing where let's take the best for the job.
Yep.
Have you ever, in the past, compared what we pay summer help to what some of the local school districts have a policy of hiring summer help to mow grass and so on? And see, where we stand competitive with them, and then also, what Ralph's saying, to offer a posting through the guidance departments or something at the local schools, if.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
in
we've never,
any of the companies.
we've never done it with, we usually, we're generally a little bit under other local government. We've never compared ourselves to schools, because probably find out they pay
I
more.
don't know that.
Yeah.
So you mean the kids from the schools will do it, or?
Well, summer
just
kids,
summer
when they're off for summer help or come from college, they mow grass or pull weeds or weed eat or whatever the jobs that they do there.
But don't you still have to pay them?
But where do you get those at?
Yeah,
They come to apply.
Oh, so like,
Yeah, well, then they would be
but through
able
the
to
school
apply.
or from the?
Well, they can come, I think, from anywhere, but we, generally, we hired somebody who was from school. Obviously, if they come back a second or third year, they're probably in college by that time.
Okay.
And at one point in time,
So I mean, do we contact the schools, or who do you contact for that?
well, I would contact the board office and ask them what their rate is, and then ask them if they have surplus people or a job board that you just put a notice on there that we're interviewing and it could be Notre Dame, could be any of the schools if they're interested.
All the schools.
If they're
Well,
not,
So
we
you could
put
go
out a
to Matt
summer job
Colemo and ask
posting.
him.
Yeah,
because
probably go
He's
to-
a superintendent.
So you're
so-
seeing like the schools have those, I don't
yeah,
know.
what the schools do is they have a summer program, summer help, and they have an intern that comes in and
Oh.
works on computers.
Okay,
And obviously, it's
Is this the going
a low
rate?
rate because they're interns,
Okay,
and
okay.
some are just high school kids that are
No, but I'm-
mowing lawns, pulling weeds,
Isn't there
doing
a
painting the fence,
Okay.
whatever. So you're more
Yeah, no, it's-
skilled,
Yeah.
more skilled, permanent people are, remodeling the bathroom, doing this, that, and the other thing.
so what you're saying is they have a pool of
I mean,
people.
it's a way for kids to get.
They put ads out.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
And then we
Well,
do
we
this,
put this
well,
out.
when I was there, we did the
Well, we
same
can-
thing for
We can send posters.
repetitive. If a guy comes
Yeah,
back a
it's not
second year, he should make more than the guy the first year,
Right.
and we put
And
that
that's what
in.
we have in
Yeah,
here.
that's the same thing here. It's
Right.
about a quarter or
But we're gonna
something.
put this on our website for anyone to.
Well, we can send it to the schools. That's not
Yeah,
a
I just was
problem.
curious. I wasn't saying we should change it. I just don't know
You just
where
wanna
this.
know if the rate is comparable,
If it's,
right?
if it's close, yeah, I'm not saying we
Because
change it or anything else. I just know
Minimum
that.
wage is what,
$7.75, I believe.
$7.75?
Yeah, we ran into a problem where we had it was actually lower. Now, this is some years ago, and you could make considerably more money putting a burger in a bag than coming out and
Burger
hanging
in a
on the
bag.
back of a weed eater for 8
$10.
hours a day.
Yeah,
Right.
$9,
And so we had some difficulty with getting young people that come do it, and so we had to bring it up to a level that we would get people in, and it definitely is a good use of the funds, because like any other job, you get some kids that work like crazy, they're
Yeah.
probably worth twice what you're paying them, and you
Yeah.
get some other kids that
Yeah,
probably last a week,
yeah, I hear you.
maybe.
Colleen
Okay.
snuck in and asked if we could also add to the bottom of this, water resources is also requesting too.
Oh,
Okay.
So I'll just add that in.
All right.
Water
Okay, if you want to go
resources.
ahead and read that number 14 then, and we'll move right along.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board grant permission to advertise for summer help number 0101 for the approximate period of May 1st, 2014, or at the end of the school year through September 30th, 2014, or at the start of school, whichever comes first, for a maximum of 21 weeks, 840 hours to be worked. This posting order is posted until all positions are filled with a compensation to be set at $8.25 first year, $8.50, second year, $8.75, third and subsequent years for the following departments: Department on Aging 2, Commissioners 1, County Home 1, Maintenance 1, and Water Resources 2.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion will stand approved. Number 15 is, I guess, just some amendments to.
It's a correction. Christie left instructions of everything for reorg, but with Debbie and I both scrambling to try to have everything, somehow we overlooked the actual complete thing that Christie prepared.
Okay.
So this is just to amend what was done in January.
So the only change to your meeting schedule that's listed
Okay.
is number 5 under that.
Did you just
where-
say 5?
Yeah, well, we're just gonna amend it to add the addition of request for reasonable advance notification of all commissioners' meetings at which any specific type of public business is to be discussed may be requested of the commissioner's clerk. Provisions for advance notification may include but are not limited to emailing the agenda of meetings to all subscribers on a distribution list or by stamped envelope provided by the person requesting the information.
All right, if we have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Can I interject something real quick? The last paragraph indicates how you're gonna make public notice. Could I respectfully ask that we add the website into that? So that people can go to the website and check and see when the meeting dates are. This is a bit confusing, and it'd be really nice if the people could see the meeting dates without having to go to Maple Leaf or whatever.
I believe that we had corrected that.
We had the regular schedule corrected after you
It is
pointed that out.
corrected. It was corrected.
Yeah.
But all the meeting dates and all that kind of stuff, can we have that put on the website?
We had the normal meeting schedule on the website. It was
Always.
put on the day you correctly brought that up. We got that fixed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make that
Second.
motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion will stand approved. Acknowledgements, we've got the weekly report filed by the county dog warden.
You wanna go, I guess, David?
And then
It's
as
not on.
far as for meetings this week, we've got
Here.
on March the 6th, Youth Leadership Government Day. The 11th will be Commissioners meeting here. The 11th, there's a Planning Commission meeting at 7 PM that hasn't been canceled yet.
Not yet.
That's going forward, okay.
Always a chance.
All right, Commissioners on the 13th will hold a regular session that will include a public hearing at 10:10 a.m. regarding the Department on Aging's application to the Ohio Department of Transportation's 2014 Specialized Transportation Program Grant. Mary, what exactly is that?
Which one
That's-
were you reading?
Jessica's still here.
Oh,
I
Okay.
think this one
Or
has
Jessica,
to-
I didn't
I
know
don't
you-
know what the
This
Department
is for
of
that,
Aging.
this is for that
That's
specialized
something else.
handicap vehicle
Yeah,
grant.
well, how about Jessica? Why don't you speak to
Sure,
that?
do you want- can I speak from here? So what it is, it's a grant through ODOT that allows us to apply for funding toward a handicap accessible vehicle.
Okay.
So what we are looking to apply for is an MV1. It's more of a lower profile vehicle. Right now, we have this van, and because of how high it is, we
Skyline.
cannot drive it
Full
anytime
size.
during the winter. With the roads and high winds, it really
Okay.
is not a good vehicle. So what this grant does, ODOT will give, I believe, 80%
Okay.
toward the vehicle, and we would have to supplement the additional 20%.
And then will that be something that'll be held by the Department of Aging?
It's titled to the Commissioner's Office.
Right,
Yeah,
but
but
it'll be
it'll be at the Aging
Department,
Department.
not at Transit.
Right.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then 317 Family First Council, 2 PM. On the 18th, we have an advisory committee meeting on our investments at 9:45, so it'll be 15 minutes before the commissioners' session starts.
Okay.
The commissioners will hold regular session on the 18th I'll be at the Board of Revision again on the 24th at 9 a.m. Auditor's Office. The Commissioners will hold a regular session again on the 25th. And on the 27th, Commissioners will hold regular session beginning at 6:30 p.m. We don't have anything at this point for
Yeah,
the
this- yeah.
agenda.
Want to mention it?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
on March 5th,
March 5th,
9 o'clock in the morning,
3-5, and then.
I'll be across the street for the Knotcock, which used to be the Gap,
Okay, okay,
in Building 8.
all right. And you have a
We
question,
have-
Skip?
Yeah, actually, I had two things.
Okay.
First of all, I just want to get clarification on next Thursday, the 13th meeting. Is that going to be the NOACA meeting in which we're going to speak about the program that they have for transportation loans? Because we had talked about having that meeting.
You're talking about, what you're talking about are the things that you talked in the policy committee,
Yes.
which still has to go to all these other committees. It's not in firm, it's not in granite yet. I mean, they're still in discussion.
As I understand it, in talking to.
But that's gonna be on the 14th, Skip.
As I understand it,
Friday.
the executive committee, that's right, is gonna, the NOACA executive committee, the 14th is gonna consider those two items. That is
No.
our last opportunity to nix those two items, because
No.
it'll go from the executive committee to the open board
Well,
meeting.
first there's a finance committee.
So,
It has to be approved, that finance piece, gotta get approved. Then there's a governance meeting, then there's Farm Bureau, that won't happen, the executive committee, then they have to talk about that, but they've already changed the way the transportation is rated. It's at 75, I've got the new one out. The question I had was the financing. That 30 million for the 10 years is what you're talking.
two $30 million loans over 2
Right.
years. And so the point being, if
The
we're gonna.
NEOS thing has been taken
You know,
out
if we
of
wait till the
policy.
last minute to discuss this, then we'll lose our opportunity. We should,
Well,
in my
we're gonna
opinion,
I'm gonna
we
be
should
there.
put this on the agenda, discuss it, so we have time enough to deal with it if you choose to do that.
But we
And there's
already
two-
know what we wanna do. We want our rating to be at least, we want it at 75, which they have done.
And
the only thing that has
Are you speaking for the
not
other two
been-
board members, is that what I'm hearing?
Excuse me?
Are you speaking for the other two board members? Is that what I'm hearing? Because this is a board decision.
Right, this is
When
where,
you make the comment, Mary, that we know what we're going to do, then
well,
that
I talked
relays
with the
fact.
engineer's office. I don't have that expertise. I talked with Joe Cattell and what they were looking for. They're the ones putting the input in, because they're the ones that are dealing with it. They're dealing with the roads and bridges.
Because there is a little bit of concern here, because
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, we can talk about it. Let's get Joe in here and
Yeah.
explain what he wants.
Why don't
That's-
we
I've
do
already-
this, then why, we don't have a meeting Thursday, on Tuesday, we have a meeting on the 11th. Why don't we,
We can
why don't we
bring
put
Joe
a,
in.
yeah, why don't we do something to discuss this, because I have a lot of concern on it
Right,
too.
right.
And I think that we do need to just be able to bring some things up for discussion and be able to talk about it, because
Right.
it just, I think that anytime you try to, spend what you don't have is a dangerous thing. And what it's looking
Well-
like is almost exactly that.
My thing is, we could do a resolution or whatever. If you're looking for a commitment from me, that doesn't mean anything because it's not
Right.
in a deal. I have no interest in borrowing money under those circumstances,
Right.
or at any circumstances really,
Right.
to do what they
And I feel
they
the same
want.
sentiment.
I have no interest in
They call that the
becoming
civil.
in eastern Cleveland, Ohio,
And
or
you cer-
eastern Cuyahoga County, and I don't have a whole lot of interest in us not getting our roads, because we take care of them, not getting the money that we have been getting to work on our stuff, and them getting my share or our share, county share
Okay.
of the money for projects, because they haven't been diligent in taking care of their roads. That's my public statement on how that is, how it works out through the.
Well, I would just say that all the engineers in the 5 counties are meeting, on the rating system. They already are put, and I think you need to have Joe's input, because they're the ones that are dealing with the roads and bridges. And one of the concern was ODOT's level is at 60, when the roads are at 60, ODOT takes care of everything that has nothing to do with cities.
Okay,
Because cities cannot get ODOT money. Only townships, villages outside the city limits. Their level is 60. Our level is we start to fix our roads when it's below 75 because we have a higher standard. Now that has been put in as the rating. I mean, they've got this basic, and I'll print it out for all of you. to show
I
you.
think the question the board has to consider is, do you want to take some kind of formal action, the formal resolution
You
stating
could do a
your opposition
resolution, yeah.
to that?
And-
Well, my big concern in bringing it up, and I'm not hearing anything that changes this, as I'm hearing this discussion, is that this board is confused and doesn't understand it. I believe that Mary is giving you bad information.
Oh,
And so
come on.
therefore.
I'm reading
I would-
it from
I
the
would like-
policy.
I would like to have the entire policy, because it's a two-part policy.
And-
There's a loan involved, which has never been done before. The SID loan has never been used in this way before. And Steve Hambley from Medina has told me that they're going to shoot this, he wants to see
Right.
this whole
I
thing
know,
shut
and I've
down,
talked with
period.
him on that.
Not talking about changing the rating system, but shooting down this whole policy that says they're gonna take out a loan, plus change the rating system, yada, yada, yada. It is a two-part thing, and the board needs to understand it. Bring Joe in so he can explain his part. I'll even invite Steve Hambley up from Medina, if need be, or Mr. Gills out of Lake County to be a part of the conversation, so we can have a complete understanding of what this is about, and you have all the information.
My biggest fear in all of this is that we're a very, very small vote and a small voice in a big pond, and that's the thing that's kind of scary for us.
4%.
Because, you know, we can all agree, Blake and Mary, I mean, we could say, you know what,
And
this is
I've
a
already
bad
made that.
deal, and we don't like it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we, and I guess the other thing that really bothers me, and I've said this from the day that I started to get educated on this, is this NEOSCC has such a strong hold on this whole NOACA that it's actually become part of their whole agenda.
No,
is-
that's been taken out of their agenda, they've taken that.
No,
out.
it's not. If you look at the latest
latest
the
policy statement,
latest
it's still in
policy
there.
is
Well,
that they basically are to adopt those guidelines. And what at the end of the day, what it comes down to is soon as you lose property rights, you lose your freedom. And I think that it is a huge danger that we're treading on. And if you look at all of the maps that they've got in place, I mean, this isn't stuff that's, you know, black helicopter in the sky stuff. This is reality that they've got printed out. And if you look at what the forecast for Geauga County is basically this is going to be the recreation for all of us that are going to basically live in, you know, Urbania of Cleveland and its suburbs, that more and more of the groups with the conservation easements and all of these conservation groups that are continuously absorbing our property are continuing to eliminate property from us here in Geauga that are making it totally non-usable, non-purchasable. It's putting a huge burden on us with taxes because there's no tax dollars to be had out of these properties. And we can go ahead and think that it's the cute thing, and we could go ahead and say we're saving this and we're saving the green and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, we have done a great job to police ourselves through the years. We've got organizations in place to control certain, you know, violation of natural disaster and natural contaminations, and you know, our lake and lake area is cleaner now than it's been in how many years? You know, our lake burned at one point in time, and now they're having a problem that it's too clean. So it's a situation where we have evolved and we have done a lot better job to police ourselves and make ourselves more accountable. But what is happening now is this whole NEOSCC, they have taken a role, and I have not been as vocal maybe as I should, but it's at the point in time where I feel that it is critical that we take a position and make it verbal, and sometimes I'll be honest with you, Skip Claypool comes across rough and gruff and rough around the edges when he talks about this stuff because it becomes almost conspiracy theory. But when you start to look at the actual maps that NOAC is basically associating to their plan, this is NEOSCC's whole plan for what their agenda is, to take our properties and to take basically Geauga County to make this into a complete control of public land and eliminate us as what we all love this county for. And it scares the living daylights out of me. I won't see it in my lifetime, but at the end of my daughter's life and her kids' life, it's crazy, because we should be able to leave it to our generations ahead as we have been able to have it. And I just think that it's a situation that we cannot continue to just, too many times, these organizations have big mouths, they have big pushes, they have big followerships, they have a lot of people that jump on their bandwagons, and too many times the good people keep their mouths shut because they want to be polite and they don't want to be controversial. And at the end of the day, these people are getting the dollars that they need to put that agenda in motion, that they've got the dollars to run with their initiative. It's a situation no different than what we had with the Cleveland Natural History Museum. You know, they came in, they had our funds. It doesn't matter how you sort it. Those are public funds that they used to take property, to take it off our tax
Well, that
map.
was Clean Ohio money that was voted in by the people of Ohio.
And I understand
I mean,
that-
it wasn't our money
But at the end of the
county
day, it's
money, but it
still-
was Clean Ohio that was voted by the people of Ohio who voted for that. And that money is running out. That's the tail end of that money.
And the unfortunate part about that is when you look at like the WRSP, okay, which what they're basically doing is all of these sword divisions, they're building sword plants. They don't have the dollars to do it themselves, and what they do is they basically go to the federal government. They're basically given a loan by the federal government at an interest rate, and in turn, what they're able to do is they're able to give dollars to projects through all of these different conservation groups and put money into these groups to give them dollars to basically compete against Joe Public, you, me, anybody
Okay,
else.
So there's
And-
two issues. There's the issue of the ratings of the money and the extension of loan for up to 10 years of the
Yes.
SIB.
That
The
and
other one is the
NEOSCC.
NEOS. But the thing that we're talking about on the roads, that policy, that I'll email it to you. The only thing in there that changes the SIB, which I am against. The NEOS, I've already told them how I feel, but we can put a
Right, and
resolution
it's
against
just-
it.
it's a
And we
situation-
have been against, but Steve Hambley spoke in favor of NEOS. And if you don't think so, you went to that
No,
meeting.
I'm denying that.
He
Steve-
spoke
Steve
to
Hambley
that.
spoke-
We never spoke in favor of
That's
that.
right. I'm the only one that had the gumption to go there and to speak against NEOCC.
That's true,
And
but-
the lady from HUD, the district manager from HUD stood up, made this comment, and I've got a quote, and I can email it to you if you're interested in hearing it. And by the way, there were 20 unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats around the table that voted for those findings, which have never been vetted. I've never been allowed. Valerie McCall prevented me
She
from presenting to
prevented
the
you,
board.
but that was on
And
her,
so,
on her watch.
The director of HUD stood up and said, now that we have control of northeastern Ohio, we can make some things happen. I have the quote, I can send it to you.
Yeah, I'd like to
It's
see
on
that.
film, I can show you the film.
Show me.
And so that is what I fear.
Okay.
If through ignorance, you know, if everybody sees the facts and they're on board with it all,
Right.
then, you know, so be it. Then that's what people want.
Right.
But right now, they're going around like quote unquote the shadow government. I hate to say that, and they're people are not educated about what this could mean to this county, and people need to be educated about it. That's the reason I did the forum. I tried to educate people. That's the reason I'm coming here and I'm being as outspoken as I am, because this is important to our kids and our
And
grandkids'
the NEOS
futures.
part, but the other part, those are two separate things. And I
It is two
understand.
separate things.
It is two
It's
separate
two separate things.
Right.
But the rating, I am concerned about the rating, and I wanted that rating, and I had this conversation. I've had this conversation with them about NEOS, that we want no part of it. And we had that conversation when they came to Geauga County at the Family First council, and everyone in the schools, Don Rice was there, we all told them, we want you
But
out.
look at the policies, Mary. If you look at the policies, every policy makes a statement at the end of the policy that the NEOACC
Well, that has
findings
been-
will be a part of, now
Well,
once it
that
becomes
is
a part
what
of
I
that,
wanted out
every
of it.
decision that the WACA now makes with your dollars has to consider
That
what
has not
NEOACC
been
does.
approved yet.
No,
That
that's
has
what I'm
not
saying.
been approved.
The only way for to
That is
stop
why
it-
we're gonna stop it.
Well,
So what do you
okay, I
think,
hope
Mary?
you
I
do.
mean, what is the way to
I
make
think,
this happen?
okay, what I suggest us do is we write a resolution that we want the NEOSC statement taken out of all policies.
So like we would do that here?
Yes, we
So
would
we-
make that, I take that with me, I've got, you know.
Okay.
Secondly, on the, I will send you the transportation thing,
Okay.
I want you to read it first.
Okay.
And see what I'm talking about. The SIB, and I've had that conversation with Grace, I says, if we allow this to take 10 years to pay off, we are doing the same thing as they did in the housing debacle, where people bought houses, couldn't
Sure,
afford them, you know, the
terrible.
liar loans, the blah, blah, blah. We don't want that. I said, this is something that was, they can take money in advance. I says, if it was 2 years, I don't guess I'd have a problem with that. But 10 years, I guess I have a problem with that. So the timing on that should be considered, that we would come up with a timing specification.
Right.
Okay, so do you think taking money out for 15, 16 and having it paid off in 17, 18 would be appropriate?
I don't know. I
Or
have
would
to
you
look-
think it should go from 15 to
There should be no loans.
25?
There should be no consideration, there should be no.
Right,
Well,
I feel the
Some
same.
of the money, when they get started with projects, it doesn't really come through for another year or two, because once they get going on it. But this is something we have to talk about, and this is a finance, and I'll tell you, you know, even with, when we were talking about when we have, you know, clean audits, and Grace has said that, she does not, she feels, even if a clean audit, she wants performance audits done. Because just like we didn't find out what happened here, because, you know, you're not at everybody's station every minute of the day. You know, if you had a performance audit, maybe these audits that are coming through aren't worth, what are they worth?
Right.
You know, we want something a little more tangible than that. So, anyway,
For the future.
but for
I
the
think
future, maybe what we could
Write
do
a
is,
resolution
I'll email.
addressing everything.
Yeah, if you would allow me to do that.
Sure, yeah,
I'll work
I
with
think
Dave.
I think we need to.
And I'll take that with me.
Yeah.
But I intend to come out very strongly.
Right,
on that,
right.
Very strong. Because, first of all, we're not for, I mean, if we were for debt, we certainly wouldn't have had our jail out of the way, would we? If we were
Well, and
in
then
that
that's
mindset.
my whole thing
you
is
know.
we're trying to be as fiscally
And we do
conservative
it, yeah.
as we possibly are.
Right.
And Cuyahoga County is not in the condition
Ah.
that it's in because of the fact that they've been
Exactly.
responsible. And,
Right.
and I guess it's scary to me because of the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it's like anything else. You can, you know, you can be strong as you are and you can start to run a race, but if you've got a parachute hanging on your back, you can run strong for so long. If you didn't have that, you would run that much further because of the fact that you don't have that resistance. But eventually, that parachute is going to kill you and you're going to stop. And that's what is my biggest fear with
Let's
this
cut the
whole
strings.
NOACA thing, the whole thing with this NUSCC. It's just, I have no problem. People, God puts people in this world that need to have our assistance, and 100%, we need to do the right thing. But there's also too many situations where there are situations that we are forced and we are put in a position of a lot of different programs that are just social programs that
That we don't
merit,
believe in. Yeah,
we don't believe in,
Right.
that we are forced to participate in, and it's scary because ultimately let us take care of our own and let them take care of their own. And it's a situation where we have worked so hard, you know, and I can't take credit of that because I'm a new guy here, but you know, all of the past commissioners
10 years. Oh,
and the past, you know, people within this county have done a good job to try to keep themselves within their budgets and within their means. And now all of a sudden, we get into a situation where we could, you know, everything we worked for, we all of a sudden lose. And it's like,
We
I
can't
don't
have
think
it.
it's good.
No. And it's been important to note that in the last 10 years, we've gotten over $30 million for our roads and bridges. And we need to continue to do that because we wouldn't have roads at a rating of 80 and 90 like we have. Even Mayfield Road, which is an ODOT takes care of Mayfield Road. But, that's probably gonna get paved again real soon.
Well, the thing is, we need
So-
to stay united here.
Yeah, we will see.
And what Ralph is saying, the deck is stacked against Geauga County by numbers, which we have no control over at
They're
this
not
point in
gonna
time.
cut us out of the.
Well, I'm just saying, we don't have any control
But we
over
want
at this time, so
NEASCO.
we need to have a rock-solid,
Firm.
firm front in.
Right.
And we can do that with a document, and everybody can sign on to it, up to
I
and
think that's-
including the 3 commissioners can sign on to it.
Right.
And according to our organizational chart, or organizational meeting, we can put a line there that the alternates agree to that
Well, how
also, so
about our
that there's no
townships?
question.
How about our townships? Could I go to the
Oh, I mean, if
the
you could get your
association?
trustees.
Because the meeting's, isn't it coming up?
April.
Oh, April.
I
But
thought
still.
it was 29th of March.
29th of March?
You might wanna check it, yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, let me suggest this to you, because few of you have some of the information that I have on what NEOCC is. So you can speak to it, but you can speak to it in generalities. Allow me to present to you some of what I have seen, so you're prepared with information, so you can
Okay.
discuss it intelligently. And I would love to have that, you had just talked about the trustees. The Lorraine County Trustees Association just came out with a resolution opposing the NOSCC.
So we could get
And
Geauga,
so,
I could
if
go
we could
to,
theoretically go to, I mean,
Okay,
you
I-
can make the presentation, I don't care who
Right.
gets the glory.
and we
because-
will do that.
And have the educate the trustees as to
Mm-hmm.
what this is, because the way that they sell this is very much like Obamacare was sold.
Oh.
Okay, it's sold on nonsense and lies.
Exactly.
And so if you have good, solid information, people understand what it's all about, then they're prepared to defend
Mm-hmm. Right.
against it. Without the
Right.
information.
Let me ask you this, our next evening meeting is going to be on the 27th.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that we could organize some of to be able to get in contact with the trustees, to basically be able to
We could,
have
well, is
something that night?
well, wait a minute, is the association,
Did you say the association?
I don't
was
think
what,
it's on the 28th.
27th or 29th?
Somebody told me it was March 29th. so.
29th would be a Saturday.
I think it's April, because it's quarterlies, it's quarterly meetings in
I'm looking
April.
for, I got an email like a week ago, I'm looking for the
GTA
email.
is April 9th.
April 9th.
Yeah, April 9th.
There you go.
But that's really not too late, because we would not have another, I mean, it's still time to add their names to it, so we could go to them. I'll call Jim DeVorak
Well,
and talk with him about
there may be an advantage
it.
instead of having a resolution that says all 16 townships disagree or agree with us. they
And
don't
the
want
village
this,
and city.
and the cities and there might be an advantage to having a resolution from each one of those, so you got a stack of resolutions this high from each.
Sure.
Because sometimes you write a letter
Yeah.
and 30 people sign it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we got a letter.
Yeah,
Or
like your
you write
1,000 people,
30
you were on there
letters,
4
and they
times,
say
Skip.
they got 30 letters.
I was down there 4 times.
You were on there at least twice.
No.
I saw your name
but, I mean,
twice. I'll
could
show
be.
you.
I'll check the petition.
I'll show you
So-
your other twice.
Anyway, well,
Hey, yeah,
that's,
I do like
anyway,
they do
I'd
in
like to
Cleveland,
see
you
if
know,
we
I
can
get-
write
I
this
know.
up.
I've voted as
I know.
many times as it takes.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need to do it.
We need to-
So maybe
Yeah.
if we can
Well,
look at that for that,
Maybe we can go, get into
Yeah.
contact with them and,
I agree. I
So,
think it's.
so are we
okay,
having
we
any
gotta-
discussion next week about this?
well, we're gonna try and get you're gonna give your information, right?
What-
Well,
what do you-
obviously, we can't
We
have.
know what we're against. We
The
pretty well
three of
know
us
what we're-
can't meet, obviously, you
can't
know
meet.
that.
No, but we can have it in an open session.
Right,
I
and
could have-
and
I
that's
could
why
have a
we're
presentation
thinking
to
the
you guys.
possibility
But it's really
is this.
two-part, it's a transportation loan thing.
Right,
that
and
is
the other
separate
thing is
from
the
NEASC,
NEASC.
And then the NEASC.
Yeah.
So we want that policy taken out of any policy. We want NEAS strucken from all policies. And on the transportation, we want to make sure, get Joe Cattell in here, because we
Yeah.
want the engineers to give us because they are meeting. I mean, in the past, the engineers always took care of all this stuff, And the reason we voted on is simply because why
Right.
we vote on anything that's budgetary.
Skip, I would feel more comfortable, I don't care where we, when we meet, but it'd be better if we had what you're gonna talk about or something that we can look at.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, in advance,
Could you
because
get
otherwise
that?
everybody's sitting here, and we're gonna be discussing something I'm reading at the
Yeah.
time, which is.
And as far as that NEOSC, I mean, certainly you could bring your presentation because Valerie is not president this year.
And I do think that
I
there's
mean,
a
when it gets
value
to
to
that
being able
point.
to get the point out and
Right.
being able to display it in a manner that is not,
Yeah.
10 miles long, but to the point.
Short.
And hits the issues that are at hand.
But I think, people like, I bet you the Department of Development, DD, like Don Rice, I'm sure he'd sign on to that. I'm sure Matt Glenn would sign on to that. You could get these people who head up all the organizations in Geauga, because they say they do a fine job. They don't need intervention from the inner city.
Right.
They don't need intervention, and this is what was said at the Family First meeting. So we could get them to sign on, and, the townships to sign on with us.
You'll be happy to know that you're in the first ring suburbs of Cleveland. That's how they have us defined.
First ring.
Well, the
Right.
school
On
districts
another
have been
issue.
sharing.
I think we're a little further out than that, don't you?
You know, the
Yeah.
school districts have been sharing for years and been donor districts, and they take,
Yeah.
Right.
and we don't get back what we get taxed.
Well, I'll talk to Matt,
But the
and I'll
inner city
talk
schools
to
get,
Don, and I'll talk to
the big
Jeff
eight, I
DeBoer.
think they call it,
Mary, could you get a definitive definition on cost sharing? Because that's the other side of this, is we've not talked about.
Cost
Is
sharing?
that NOACA, in their policies, every policy has an element that says cost sharing. Cost sharing to me says revenue sharing, which says we're gonna take our dollars, give it to Cleveland
No.
to help offset the roads,
No.
yada, yada, yada.
No, we're not doing
So that
that.
cost sharing thing is not clear.
No.
And it doesn't smell good.
No, I agree, I don't like
And
that.
so, that's something else.
Well,
to
there's
note.
plenty we can do, and we could, and I know it, the only thing is, the only problem I have, like I told you, is Steve Hamley is going after NEOSC. You lost a big ally there in
Well,
Medina.
Steve has been a long-time regional guy.
I
He was
know,
part-
but
he was-
that's
so.
disturbing, because I know that. I mean, he doesn't, I've talked to him about everything on the that 2-year, the 30 million thing. I've talked to him about that, and I've also talked about the rating system. And on the we don't agree on that one. So, maybe Lake would come along with us. No, I don't know.
You're
I
talking
haven't,
about
I
NEOSC?
haven't talked to
Talking
them.
about- Which one are you talking about, NEOSC or the transportation thing?
Yes.
Well, I'm
NEOSC,
not sure.
no, we stand alone on that, other than the Lorraine Township trustees.
The rank and file Medina think it's a good thing? I know Steve is.
The problem is that nobody really understands.
Yeah,
because
totally.
All that Hunter Morrison shows when he comes into the NOACA meetings is very high level, soft and feely, feel-good stuff.
Yep.
He doesn't really show the details, and people aren't tuned into it. You just look around the NOACA table, and people are playing with their cell phones when he's making the presentation.
Right.
Nobody's really tuned into what he's talking about. And-
Okay,
and-
well-
And to be honest with you, Cleveland benefits. The larger cities, Akron,
Sure.
Cleveland, Youngstown, they all benefit. They want this.
Well, the
They-
inner city,
they
they've
benefit.
lost their 400,000, and once they get below that, unless they take East Cleveland into the fold, they're going to be below the level of, federal funding
They
for
are.
certain projects. And, this East Cleveland is a train wreck, that, it's a train wreck, they can't get it anywhere.
With your permission, I have one other topic.
Okay?
Put them aside. The Geauga County Transit event just pointed to what I perceive to be a lack of proper oversight and standards, minimums. I brought that up when I was a commissioner many times. I was either ignored or ridiculed in the process. I'd like to call for an internal audit. I don't know what you guys are thinking, what the discussions have been behind closed doors. A lot of the facts aren't out yet, so it's not appropriate to talk about the details because it's, it's accusations at this point in time. But from what we've seen, and we've seen publicly, this looks like a systematic breakdown of any proper management level checks and balances. And so I think we need to get
Yeah.
people, the citizen, comfortable
We've
that we've got this under control.
We've already had a discussion regarding this,
Okay.
and we do
Yes.
have a plan in place. And that is actually being implemented as we speak.
We've already
And is that
addressed
gonna be
that.
an independent audit, independent of any public?
We haven't
That'll
gotten
be
to that
decided
detail yet.
later.
We have legal issues here that are involving this, so we can't go into major discussion right now.
I'm not sure it's
So-
systematic, that may
so
not be the
We have to
proper
make
term.
sure everything is appropriate along with what Jim Flays and Laura LaChapelle say is okay for us to do. So right now, we have done what we feel we could do, and we have dismissed our director from employment, and we've put someone else in her place.
But this is, understand, this is what
She's an at-will employee, understand.
What I'm saying is this is broader than the transit. This goes to the fundamental process of the county commissioners' management of all of the departments.
And we understand that, and
We
we're taking it very
understand that.
serious. And we, you know, the statement was made this morning that it's an unfortunate situation because this is a slap in the face of the county employees that come to work every
It is.
day.
Who
and
are
do a
honest.
good,
Good
honest
departments.
job. And
That's
and
right.
it's unfortunate that this incident took place.
Mhm.
We are 100% going to remain transparent. We are working closely with the prosecutor's office and their investigation. We applaud the prosecutor's office for taking the initiative and to directing their resources to investigating this and bringing this to light. And in our hopes also is that this is going to send a message. We're going to have zero tolerance of this. And with that being said is that we want to rest assured also that we're hoping that this is an isolated case and that we are going to take it upon ourselves to make the checks and balances and put some checks in place to make sure that this has not been something that has happened elsewhere, and to assure that the policies and procedures are being adhered to. But once again, I want to reiterate that the bulk of our employees, we believe and feel in our heart that come to work every day with the best intentions and the desire to do a good job for this county and the residents that live in this county. And I don't, you know, and it's just like anything else. I come from the police world prior to this, that one bad cop ruins it for every bad cop. And that
Right.
should not be taken that way, because most cops put their life on the line every day and put that uniform on to serve the public and to put their life ahead of everybody else's to protect that integrity. And I think that we have good quality employees. It's just that, you know, this is unfortunately, as you start to get into numbers of people and personalities and just situations like this, things happen. And we're 100% willing to support the prosecutor's office of what they're doing, and whatever happens with this, we will await for them to conclude their investigation and move forward. But on our internal side of it, we are going to put some motions in place.
And
We're
also,
serious, we take this very seriously, the three of us, take it very seriously. But we don't want to condemn
Right.
other departments and just say there's some wanton disregard and carelessness or something like that. It would not be fair to characterize it that way.
And to be clear, I want to correct any misunderstanding. That's not what I was saying at all.
Well-
What I'm saying is that at this level, at the commissioner's level, and this has been a historic systemic issue for me, and I was here at one time sitting in your seat, and I saw it,
For
and
5
I
months.
raised the questions up, and I was told, shut up. And so, I think that there are standards that need to be put in place, policies and practices need to be put in place to ensure that there's necessary checks and balances. Now, this is a one-off thing. We have got great employees and great department heads in this county.
well, I
This
would
is a
just
one-off
say,
exception.
according to our prosecutor, this was caught very early on. Very early on. It wasn't something that's been going on for a long time. It was caught very early on by the treasurer, and, you know, when this kind of thing is caught, nip it in the bud. And, I mean, we could look at the history of Geauga County. There's been townships that have had some terrible things going on. We've had fire departments that have embezzled. But that doesn't mean that every township is bad. It doesn't mean that every fire department is corrupt. It doesn't mean, just like Ralph said, that every police department, because one cop's bad.
I think
And I think
I'm
that
uncomfortable going too much further with
Yeah.
this discussion.
Yeah, I know. Me
With-
too.
With there being.
Right. Doesn't mean everything's bad. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your comments.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. Okay, with that, if we, do you have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So
I object.
to adjourning? We already did.
We've already adjourned, but
What do you think I've been